Hello everyone, I'm Matt Evans and welcome to Board Game Replay. In this series, you're going to be joining us for a post-game discussion where we sit down and talk about various aspects of a game, and then during that discussion, we're going to be cutting back to replays of moments that we found fun or exciting. Now today we're going to be playing Kemet, which is a 2 to 5 player area control, area influence style game. And I'm going to get into a brief game and rules overview here in just a second, but before I do that, for those of you who already know this game, you don't need that, feel free to click right up here and skip to the main part of the video. Now, one quick thing I want to mention is, if you want a thorough rules overview that just encompasses all the different components of this game, I'm going to put a link in the description here to Rodney Smith's channel, Watch It Played. He did a full instructional video of Kemet, as well as a playthrough of the game, and it's just really, really detailed and incredibly high production value. Just an awesome video series. Check that out. It's the best way to learn this game, in my opinion. But if you just want a brief rules overview, stay tuned. I'm going to get to that in just a second. Alright, so as I mentioned, Kemet is an area control game. And that means players are going to be moving their units around this big map, and they're going to be fighting for control and holding specific areas to gain an advantage over their opponents. But one of the things that makes Kemet kind of a unique area control game is the huge emphasis on combat and just being super aggressive in this game. And the reason for that is one of the main ways to gain a permanent victory point in this game is to win combat as the attacker. And you can see there's all these different types of victory points laid out in front of me here. There's a couple of different ways to gain them in this game. Like, for example, as I mentioned, holding certain areas. If my units here hold this temple, I'm going to gain this temporary victory point. If I have units there, I gain this victory point. But it's circular, which means it's temporary. If another person comes in and attacks me and bumps me off that space, I lose it and it goes to them. But these red tokens over here, they represent combat. So anytime that I win in a combat as the attacker, I gain one. As a defender, I get nothing. So as you can see, this game really pushes you to be aggressive and to always be moving on your opponents. Now, whenever you get into combat with another player, another interesting part of this is there's really no luck in combat. There's no dice rolling in this game. Each player starts the game with 6 combat cards, and they're all exactly the same. Everybody has these exact same 6 cards. And they have different numbers for attack values and things that you'll add to the combat. But then they also have these secondary icons. It's either a little blood drop or a shield. And the blood drop means after the battle outcome, whether you won or lost, that's how many units of theirs that you kill. Or if it's a shield, that's how many units, that basically every shield cancels out a blood drop. So you can just go up against someone and completely lose the battle, but take out half of their units in the process. So it's a really interesting mechanic there. And as I said, yeah, the attack values vary wildly. Here's the cool part too. Every time you get into a combat with someone, you have to discard one card from your hand and then play another one face down on the board to be revealed against your opponent. And then of course you add the combat values plus whatever units you have in that space. But by the time you've gone through a couple rounds of combat, you're only down to 2 cards left in your hand, so your options are really limited. So there's a lot of planning and thinking that goes into combat in this game. And eventually, once you've depleted your hand of combat cards, you're going to draw all 6 of them back up again and have all of them to use. Okay, so now that I've jumped ahead to combat, let me roll back and explain some of the other parts of this game. On a player's turn, they're going to be taking one action, and that's going to be moving on to the next player in turn order. And this little track right here determines the turn order in the game, and it's going to be determined randomly on the first round of the game, and then for every round after that, it's determined by the player with the least amount of victory points. Now, on a player's turn, as I said, they're going to take one action, and they're going to take one of these discs they have here in their player color, and they're going to place it on this board of theirs. And you can see there's this little pyramid of sorts. And I'll just explain these actions briefly so you understand. This little foot here is a movement action, which means you're going to take a troop of yours, and now a troop is anywhere from 1 to 5 units that make up a space. So this spot right here, that's my troop of 4 units. If I take a movement action, I can move them basically 1 space. But throughout the game, you can end up getting additional things to move additional spaces or move further. Or you can actually teleport to all these little, they call them obelisks, and they're all over the board, mainly on temples and stuff. But you can actually pay a couple of your resource points to jump to those. Now this move action is the way that you initiate combat in this game. If you take a move action and move your troop into a space with an enemy troop, you're going to immediately initiate combat as the attacker. And then players are going to pick up their combat cards, they're going to discard one, they're going to play one, and combat's going to resolve. Now when a combat ends, the winner of that combat gets to stay right where they were and claim that space, and the loser of the combat either has the choice of moving out to an adjacent space, or basically coming off the board and returning to their player and gaining a couple of resource points for each unit that they bring back. Speaking of resource points, these little spots down here are spots where your character can pray. And when you pray, you gain back points on this little resource track here. So it's kind of your currency for the game. Both of those spots will give you 2 points back of prayer points. This spot here with this little soldier, that lets you reinforce, bring some of your units back that might have died or that are in your reserve, bring them back to your home city. Now these 3 action spaces at the bottom, you'll notice match these 16 tiles of each color down here at the bottom. And what these represent are the player powers that you can use to kind of specialize and make your civilization more powerful. And if you play an action here, you can buy a tile from that color. And now these tiles are broken down into different tiers. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and they cost a various number of those prayer points that I mentioned, depending on the level. But also, you can only buy a tile if you have the appropriate pyramid in your home city. So right here in my home city, I have level 1, red, blue, and white. So I can only buy tiles that are level 1 from these. Now, if I take this action here, this picture of the pyramid, I can roll these pyramids up to the next level. So I can pick this 1 and bring it to a 2. And of course I have to pay prayer points for that. But I can basically, throughout the course of the game, level these pyramids up, make my civilization stronger, and allow me to get more powerful tiles to bring into the game. Now these tiles on here can basically do anything from give me additional combat strength whenever I'm fighting someone on offense, give me additional movement spaces, make these other tiles cost less, make reinforcing my units cost less, giving me more prayer points, just all kinds of great stuff. But one of the things I think that most people notice about is there's these huge, awesome creatures that you can bring around with you. So on some of these power tiles, you notice I have these creatures stacked on them. If I buy this power tile here, I now control this snake. And this snake gives me an awesome power that I can have with my troop that I put it with for the rest of the game. As long as this snake is with a troop, they give me a cool bonus. And that goes for a lot of these other powers out here too. You know, some of them allow you to move a ton and always put a couple of blood points into a combat. So you're always killing somebody's units in a battle, or boosting your combat strength significantly, or canceling out the other powers of another creature completely. Just all kinds of really powerful abilities that make this game a ton of fun. So yeah, that's pretty much a round of the game. Each player is going to keep taking actions until the last player has taken their final action. And then we're going to look for a couple of different things. If players control 2 or more pyramids, they're going to gain a permanent victory point, which is those little pyramid colored tiles there. So it's always good to try to struggle for those pyramids. In addition to that, whenever you hold pyramids, you gain some of those prayer points back for holding those pyramids at the end of the turn. So all kinds of little incentives. And there's even a temple up here you can sacrifice units, a sanctuary. If you sacrifice 2 of your units that are on that space, you gain another permanent victory point. So there's a lot of different places people are going to be fighting and struggling over throughout the course of a round. Once that main round's over, it resets again and goes back to the night phase. And the night phase is kind of just a refresh where everybody gets to basically gain a couple more prayer points and reset their actions. And then everybody also gets to draw one of these, they call them Divine Intervention cards. And these cards do a whole bunch of different stuff. A lot of them give you boosts in combat. Some of them are just quick one-shots for some prayer points, or a boost 2 in combat, or maybe something like a blood symbol in combat. Just all kinds of different stuff that'll help you throughout the course of the game. So I think that'll give you a basic overview of Kemet. This is just a really cool game with, like I said, a ton of combat going on and a lot of reading your opponents and just trying to figure out what they're going to do next. So without further ado, let's get right to the game. And we're back. That was Kemet. I think that was good.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that was very good.
Very good. Isaac won again.
Isaac's doing pretty well lately for the whole series as a whole.
The whole board game replay series.
I've been aggressive.
Yeah.
Aggressive.
Yes.
That's good, though. I mean, a game like this totally rewards it. But to be fair to James, that was really close, too. You guys were...
Oh, yeah.
You tied.
I mean, that came down to really to turn order.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing more than that.
Yep.
In the last round of turns was so slow because we're all being so careful because we knew it was so close.
It was a little excruciating.
Half the game was that last last day.
I was looking down at my watch. I was like, wow, we've only been playing for 2 hours, and it's been about an hour since I said wow, okay.
Just that
last round was at least an hour. I mean, but the whole game, well, maybe it was 2.5 hours for the whole game, but that last round was at least an hour. That was a long round.
There's a lot of strategies I didn't even think about. Like when you had said, oh, maybe I can dip into James and take out his temples
taking the points away from him. I didn't even realize that was an option in the beginning. When there was one point when I had a lot of points, and I realized that you guys came in and took all my temples away from me, so I couldn't have them. I was really trying to play the defense card, because I was the only one that was able to get a victory point from defense, and then you guys just kind of steamrolled me and ruined my entire strategy. Like I specced out in the entire tree of defense.
That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And then I played too safe and got nothing.
Well, that's honestly what happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that's the nature of this game versus some other type of like area control games. Is if you play too conservatively or if you tech up too much and you're not like moving forward, you can really get burned.
And Isaac was super aggressive.
I'm not trusting Matthew. I'm not gonna trust Matthew.
Probably was.
So that initiates a battle.
God, already, Isaac? What have I done to you? Oh, that's
You
fair.
exist.
That's
it
fair.
hurts him.
He has a good point there. I'm ready when you are.
Yep.
I got a 4 and then a +1. You lose one of your guys, I lose 2 of mine, but I win the fight.
He doesn't. He gets a defense from the elephant.
I don't
he
lose
doesn't
anything.
anybody.
Oh, he blocked it. He blocked
So
your
you lose
mud.
nothing. So you can either move them back a space or those guys go away for 4 points.
No!
We're playing again.
Oh, soften me up.
So you guys are all like tired from battle.
Dude, 2 defensive battles? I just don't even want to do it, man. God, I don't have any benefits
5,
for winning on defense. There's no reason for me to
6.
try to win this. 1, 2, 3. So I got 5, 6, 7 to your 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not worth it. Oh, you got me again. Dang, I really thought I could come up with that. Yeah, so when you moved in early, you totally set me back, and I was it slowed my starts of the game down a lot because I was counting on these 3 resources.
Oh yeah.
And then you just moved in, and I think the second round I started with like 1 or 2 prayer points. I was like, man, but that was the right thing to do. It was a good strategy. You shut me down early, and I think that was a good call.
Yeah, I found out like after a practice game of this, what I was really trying to do was get myself spread out across the board so I can take advantage of those points.
Those are huge.
But also leave myself open with enough with the power tiles that I'm not pigeonholed into making one type of action. Whether I was full attack or whether I was just going to go full defense, leave myself open. So my first card was it costs less to get some of the power
which
tiles.
you used quite a bit. You
all
were
the time.
with what, 9 of them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I really liked your ability of being able to upgrade your pyramid at the end of each round.
Oh, me, you're saying.
Because you ended up getting a couple free points, free power points, or whatever you want to call them, victory points.
Yep. For having that.
Going into the next round.
Yeah. Just getting those temples rolled up for free, and I used it to bring this to a level 4 for free, and I think I brought this to a level 3, and then I paid to get this 4 because it helped me rush the defensive tree. So while I was focusing on the white tree, just trying to get to the end and get some sort of attack boost, it helped me get up a second tree and get the. When I was going down that white tree, I was either going to get this one or the one that James has, the one with the bonus silver token, and I knew I was going to get one of the 2, and I had to get another one. So
and those are super powerful. Like when you start playing, there's one point where James I just didn't think was ever going to run out of the currency. What do you call it?
Prayer points. Yeah.
Prayer points. Yeah. I just didn't think he was going to run out because every battle
max.
he'd get into, even if he was defending, he'd kill someone. He'd get prayer points for killing someone.
The last of my points.
Yep.
To move these guys.
Boom!
Yeah, I knew that was happening.
You could sense it.
Somewhere.
You leaving them. I mean, you got a pretty good spread of forces out, so it's to be expected. See what happens.
Matt, do you have any victory points?
No, I don't actually. Thank you for reminding me of that. Actually, no, I don't have any.
Just check.
That's my strategy. I want to go first every turn. Throw any cards and DI cards at the same time.
1, 2, go.
Oh, what do you got? Resolve your cards first. You got 3 to 4, and James has a +1. Isaac has a +1. So
It doesn't matter. I think he wins.
he's got you no matter what.
Yeah.
But you guys each lose. James, you lose 1. He loses 2.
And I gain
Dang.
4 points, right?
You only lost 1 of your guys.
Is that if I lose or he loses?
No, it's if you kill his guys, you gain
I
points.
thought it was.
I think it's whatever I kill, I gain up to that.
Oh, I didn't
Two.
know. I thought it was
Yeah.
I
when you lost
think
it.
I might have read that wrong.
Yeah.
That you destroy in battle, so you get 4 prayer points. That's really good.
All right. I mean, basically, the strategy I went in was a little different from what I would normally approach a game at. I took a lot of chances, and I figured if I built up enough prayer points through all the different prayer point bonuses, that I could just kind of keep spending my way out of a corner. So that's why it seemed like I never ran out. But I also was spending very aggressively.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I had to the same thing. I brought the pyramids up to max level. I had to pay my way through all of that.
You were actually spending to do
So I
that.
had to spend quite a bit. But I figured, if nobody noticed some of the openings I was leaving and I could spend my way through the rest of the game, that maybe it would be okay.
It definitely
It
worked
got you
well for you.
right up until the top.
Yeah, we got that last round was kind of like you said, it's turn order, and it was
Oh,
just
yeah.
a matter of like for the rest of the players, we almost had a king making decision, but it was so close with both of you. It was like I went for the one because I was even trying to get a win and not even king make. I was going, I got to hit the most aggressive, the easiest spot for me to take, and then potentially take another point, and I would have been a little bit closer maybe.
I was thinking about being kind of a jerk pretty early because I noticed
You were
specifically.
You were thinking about it.
I was thinking
You
about it.
were.
Well, I was.
For what it's worth.
I was a jerk, but in a different way.
A different guy, you're jerking,
My pretty early mid game, I ran into James's base.
Yep.
To take advantage of his 4. You ready?
I'm ready.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Right now?
Go.
This is how we're doing this. I get to move right through because I have the card.
Oh yeah, you have the power.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Storm peating.
So I just got 4 to your 3 right now. I love that one where you can just roll right into their base and take over the walls. You guys all set? Isaac? Oh,
Oh
you
man.
flip it.
Flipping yourself. Okay.
You didn't even play blood. That's all right. I
3.
still won.
Yeah, so he still got you in the battle, but
I thought he was going to play blood.
So James, you're gonna lose 2 of your guys still.
Oh, Isaac.
That seems like a safe bet.
God. All right, so that's a permanent victory.
I
point
want
for
that
Isaac.
white token.
And the temple. Yeah.
Two victories.
By the
He's
way.
got 1 permanent one and then
2.
1 temporary.
Because he got the attack too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
1 permanent,
Give
which
him
is that,
that
and then
1
1
honey.
for
And then this
controlling
one.
a level 4 temple.
But you guys played that perfectly. You took the awesome white tiles out of the
Out of the
level
pool.
4, out of the pool, so it didn't matter to me. So I just moved right out and then started attacking again.
Yep.
But that was going to be my shtick. I was just going to go from 1 to 1 and buy the level 4 stuff without even having to buy it myself.
That's a
And
good
it just
idea.
it didn't pan out. It didn't pan out the way I wanted to. But like movement in this game, especially having the elephant plus another movement item, is devastating.
Yeah.
Having the
You are
elephant.
all over the board. I could go anywhere. If there was
Without
one more
paying.
turn, I could have gone
You
3
beat
other
me to
places.
the elephant right in the beginning.
Oh,
when
yeah.
I said
I knew.
I go Isaac. When he upgraded to his level 2, and I was like, man, Kara took the snake, and I really wanted the elephant. That to me is probably the most important character to start the game off.
Yeah,
with.
I like it.
And
It's a nice boost. Anyway.
because here's the thing: is everyone can spend their red pyramids on an attack. The elephant comes with an attack, a defense, and a movement. Right?
he's tier, and he's
Yeah.
tier 2.
Yeah, and he's tier 2.
Yeah, pretty powerful card for only being a tier 2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, all the other
So-
creatures are higher level than that.
So
It
he's almost like having 3 cards.
It makes you mobile. It makes you
Yeah.
mobile early, which is
It makes you aggressive.
really key. Yeah.
Very aggressive.
Well, but it's a defensive.
When you were
tile.
attacking Matt in the beginning, didn't you have the elephant? You were like
I did.
attacked him and then
I
went out
moved
and then
out
came
and
back
attacked him
in.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of craziness.
Yeah, and towards the end there, I was leaving myself wide open to lose points.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody seemed to think it was that big of a deal. And then Matt was kind of like, oh, wait a minute. And
I saw
that's
that.
why at that time I knew. I was like, he's thinking the exact same thing that I am. So, yeah, that was...
But Matt had one guy here, and both of these open for like forever.
Yep.
I was relying too much on Kara's
Yeah, it was like
defense.
mine's wide open too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
I
had
had
that
too much
defense card,
defense, though.
Yeah.
You had a lot
So
of
if I
defense.
wanted to make a move, I had nothing.
I should have grabbed that card that you had that gave +1 defense because I had I win on defense. So if I were just
That would've
able
been a good
to
mix.
grab as much defense as possible, I think I could take over temples and just hope people try to attack me and keep winning on D.
I think that's definitely a good strategy for that. Like just
For that whole tree.
even like going to a spot like this or like this where you just have, you know, you're going to limit the number of units you have here eventually until you have nothing left. But going there and sitting there with a bonus to defense like that and just
waiting,
keeping some DI cards in your hand until that attack comes in. And not only do you get to keep the space, but you win and get that victory point.
And you get the victory point,
Shut
and then
them
at the
down.
end of the turn, you get tons of prayer points.
If you were able to control one of these two places with that card, that's devastating. Devastating.
Control the
So
whole
good.
river.
Once you get it down, it flows pretty
And there's so many
Yeah.
strategies you could potentially use, you know, like now getting through to the end of it, you know, it's like, oh, maybe I should have gone in aggressively earlier and just built up defense, you know, kind of turtle into place so that nobody can kick me out, and maybe
But
I
then
could have
maybe that
won
wouldn't have
it
worked.
Yeah.
But maybe it wouldn't have
Yeah.
worked. It's like so many possibilities.
Yeah, Kara, that was kind of your experience. You kind of you got some good defense. You have some great
I've done great stuff, but it's almost like I
Yeah.
got too defensive, and so then when I was like, well, I need to make moves to get some victory points, it was like, well, I can't do anything.
We're all like, go attack James, come on, you gotta
don't
hit him
have
out. And
anything.
you're like, well,
Because the rest of us that didn't play defensively, there was a lot of, you know, okay, we go in, I took an attack, I didn't do very well because I didn't build up much of a defense, so I'm just going to move like right here. And then next turn it was, and we're attacking again. And so we had a lot of
Yeah,
back-to-back
double battles.
battles.
Yep.
Fear of attacking is just as bad as anything else. Like if you're not aggressive, pretty early, it's kind of a downhill battle.
It's kind of neat because even if you don't have a good card in your hand, you can still kill a couple of their units.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
Whittle
like,
them
you're
down.
like, all right, well, I'm not gonna get anything for this, but I can at least whittle you down and then attack you on my next
And
turn.
I did that at a couple of points in the game where I was like, the best thing I could do right now is take some of their units out. So I
And
was
then
just
get
purposely throwing cards with horrible attack power, but taking out units. And then I, of course, was maximizing my bonus where I would get the prayer points every time I took out the units. So it was
That's
definitely
awesome.
one of those things where you don't always want to win the battle. Sometimes it's more important to just start burning through their resources.
round 2.
Just one more and I would have been okay.
Surrounding his units with my spears. Ready you go. Oh my god, you're killing all but one of my guys. I actually survived. I can't believe it. Oh, so you just threw the battle, but killed almost all of my units. So you
Right.
killed...
And then just
Wow.
maxed my Ox out again.
Oh, that hurts so bad, but I did
Oh, wait,
not...
no, that puts me at 10.
So you lost, so I bring these dudes. All 4 of them die. Ow, that is really painful.
But that one guy did a lot
This
of
guy
hard
did
work.
a lot. Yeah, I think, and those, I forget what they're called. They're called like Hands of God, I want to say, or something of God. The ones where you get the silver, the bonus coins, and there's one
Those
in each tree.
make a big difference.
An additional action per turn, and not only is it an additional action, it's a simultaneous additional action. So you get to take, well, it's not simultaneous, but you get to take 2 actions per turn as opposed to 1. And if I had some more power on my last turn, if I had done things a little bit better, my last turn of the game was double movements, and I didn't have enough really to sustain and do well with those 2 movements. But like you were talking about leaving this unoccupied, and before Isaac really became a threat, if I had something to boost my movement, or even another tile like to walk through your gates without stopping, I could have just walked in here and then taken both of these, and you lose 2, I gain 2 victory points. And it would have been so easy for me to just waltz in there and take it, because I'm taking 2 movements at once.
Yeah. And I wasn't even sure if I wanted that one, because I went for the white one that gives you the silver one. That I think you said the Hand of God. That was, in my mind, 50-50 whether I wanted him or if I wanted that. And then you took it, and I said, well, that makes my decision for me.
Yeah,
So-
it shows already, yeah.
And then it actually worked out pretty well.
That zombie guy that I got is awesome. He's +1 movement for the troops that are with him. And he gives you a DI card every turn, and then +2 attack and combat, which that's better than most of the other creatures.
But he was
Yeah.
stuck
Granted,
there.
But he got stuck.
Yes.
You needed to move him out of there.
I needed
if
to,
you were
and I-
back in the battle. That +2 combat is like having 2 soldiers.
It's like you want to sit in this space and just kind of whittle. I was hoping somebody almost would attack me so I could get him
So you
out
could
of
do
there.
something,
Yeah.
yeah.
What's interesting to point out that we've talked about this, like we just mentioned like 10 different strategies that you can take with this.
Oh,
game.
yeah.
There's so many.
It's the talent trees. It's a rush
so well
for
built
your
out.
build.
Yeah.
And if you're in the middle of building something and someone grabs the
Takes
card
it,
from you, your
you just
entire
start all over-
strategy
yep.
is
It's going
done.
to change.
Yeah.
Well, take that point, but then think about the other. There's 2 things that aren't even in the main strategy. First of all, hand management is huge.
Yeah.
Knowing
Yeah.
when you should get into a fight, like do I really want to attack Isaac because that's
Yeah.
going to get him down to his last 2 cards. Now he's going to have his whole hand for the second attack. Or do I wait for someone else, like timing your attacks to know when, like what cards, watching what they have in their hands.
It's like James. James didn't necessarily always want to win a battle.
Yeah.
Because he'd rather kill more people and get a lot of faith or
Yeah,
prayer points.
exactly.
And it's like, I'm going to lose this tile anyway. I'll just retreat back, get prayer points, regroup with those points, and then just steamroll over you, you know? So, yeah, it's definitely a hand
management here,
Hand
and
management.
then in addition to that, well, you've also got your DI cards as hand management, but in addition to that, also there's definitely some strategy in figuring out where you are victory point wise, so you can determine that turn order, because turn order is insanely strong. Because turn order is everything, and usually we go, well, I'm going to put myself in last, but I think it's important to note. I mean, if you're thinking, ooh, do I want to get that extra temple? It's going to boost me up and give me more victory points than everybody, or do I want to hang back here and have 1 less than everybody this round so I can crush next round and really just stay right out of the spotlight, let everybody else
and come in with
fight
4
it,
victory points at
and
the
you
end
get
of
to
your
show up
turn.
last. Like, again, going here and being a defensive player, you're like, fine, bring it on. I'll just sit here and wait until my chance to go, and I'm gaining victory points when you attack me. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to go, and it's a quick game as far as like a 5-player area control game should take a lot longer than this game takes. I mean, granted, this was like your second games playing this,
Great.
but
It's a good game.
Yeah.
I look forward to actually playing it again, doing some different specs. I'm really surprised that we didn't go further down the attack tree, because when you told me that...
Yeah, me too.
Here's the thing, is when you said ties are based on your attacks, I was like, oh, this is one of those games where like you constantly want to be attacking.
Yep.
That's the only tree we didn't go
I know, we
down.
didn't touch it.
That's really weird.
Well,
Yeah.
we did in our practice game beforehand. That tree was getting chipped away pretty well,
Right.
and there
And I
was
had
quite
the
a few we were
elephant.
missing. But then we all kind of went, all right, shift gears to the next game, and changed it up, and we didn't go that far down that. I mean, you had more than anybody else in that attack. tree.
We're pretty well accustomed to farming games where you're just building and building and building, and I think that's where kind of we're protecting what we build, and we're trying to build up a nice
More,
fort,
yeah.
like income and
I
getting
always
enough
saw
points.
like the red as the attack, the blue as the defense, and then the middle as support. So I didn't expect anyone to go down the middle, because that's like the class. If
It's
you,
utility.
when you
really.
play
Yeah.
like video games and stuff, you're like, do I really want to be that class? Like, no, I'm either gonna tank or I'm gonna like do DPS.
Right.
You know what I mean, you're like, what do I want to do? Support? Oh yeah, let me throw out something for you.
Yeah.
But everyone went straight down, and it definitely helps per
It's a good tree.
game, per
And
round.
there's kind of a certain balance you have to keep too. Like if you go just down one tree, you don't really
can't,
get
though.
much of an
You can-
advantage.
Yeah, I
anymore.
think that's where I went
The
wrong.
thing
Is I
is-
went to defense.
Well,
Yeah.
here's
Yeah, all the
here's the hard
Yeah.
part, in my opinion, is you can only actually buy 1 card per round, not per time it comes to you.
One
Right.
color.
But
yeah.
One color.
per like 5 turns, and it's like, if you want to spec out in defense, you're gonna be 3-4 turns into the game before
Yeah.
you get that card you want.
Yep.
You're like,
So
Assuming somebody
good
else
luck.
doesn't grab it.
Well,
yeah,
you
and
kinda-
assuming someone else doesn't grab it. Yeah.
But you kind of end up actually having to think across the tech trees too, because you start realizing, like you said, you
Yeah.
can't buy 3 blues in one
Right,
go. So you
right.
have to start figuring, okay, how well is this going to match up with this,
And what's everybody else buying?
And what does it look like I'm going to need to come up against for everybody else's hands?
I remember I hit a point where I didn't want to recruit because all my guys were out, and there was no tier 1 cards, and the only thing I had spec'd up was my blue, and I already bought a blue. So I was like, oh, what can I do? I was like, I guess I'll pray. And I didn't need any points. 2 points wasn't going to make or break me. So I didn't really have anything to do that turn because I didn't play my turns out in my head far enough.
Yeah.
So it's tough. You really got to think about, like, spending my 2 moves to get to those 2 points made it so I couldn't attack Isaac after.
On that
I could've
last
brought him
turn,
down, and I realized, like, I was like, oh, wait, like, you can only move twice in a turn.
Yeah, it is rough.
No matter, even if you get those silver and gold coins, like, you've only got 2 movements per
Yeah,
turn.
it's definitely still a limitation. When I
Yeah.
first picked up the coin, I was thinking to myself, oh, this is going to really change things. And then I realized there's only so much I can actually do, because the way that the board's laid out for you, they don't let you just kind of do it all of one thing. So
And when
can't
you
just-
do it, it's just hard. I said to say do.
Always got to leave me something to cut around.
Has to
right.
make it a challenge.
No, that was great. Thank
Cool.
you guys.
Yeah.
That was a
Thanks for
blast.
having
us. Awesome.
I could play this game 100 more times. So awesome. Well, let's do this again soon. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah. Take
All
it
right.
easy, guys.
Take it easy.